In this video, we are going to look at 4 formulas, which we've seen in my previous videos, which you might have seen: addition, subtraction, multiplication, divide. So I'm going to look at some of the formulas in this video. I'm going to teach you how to type them out in full, rather than using your mouse like we did in the last video. So what I've done is I've created this little example. So you've got 4 different examples. We've got some two for addition, 1 for subtraction, and 1 for multiplication. It also works for division, but I think this is really simple. I think what we're going to do is we're just going to start in example 1, and we're going to swap out all the formulas that's in the blue cells. So in example 1, what we need to do is add up all 3 production lines. We've got production line 1, 2 and 3. We just need to add up the values and return the value in the total volume. In example 2, we need to both go across the rows to add up the total sales for the different types of pens, and then we need to come down the columns and add up the totals of the colours of each type of pen. And in example 3, we have subtraction. Here, what we need to do is go across the row and work out the variance for sales to target, and then we also need to come down the column and add up the total sales and the total sales target. And the final example, example number 4, we need to times the sales price by the unit sold. So we're going to start with example number 1. We're going to remove the value in cell C7. You can see the cell number is indicated in the cell reference box. So I'm going to press delete to remove that. What I'm going to start by is typing the formula. So with all formulas, we need to start with equals. Once we've typed equals, what we're going to do this time, rather than use the mouse and click on cell C3, we are just going to type. We're going to start with the brackets, because I think it's a good practice to get into when you're typing your formulas, is to get used to using the brackets. So equals, and we're going to do open brackets, and then we're going to type C3. And as if you noticed, as soon as we've typed C3, in the cell C7 where we're typing, it's indicated in blue C3. It's also put a blue rectangle around the cell that we are going to use in our formula. To move on to the next part of our formula, what we need to do, because we're looking at addition, is press plus. Now we've done that, we can type the next cell, which would be C4. Once we've done that, you can see that's been indicated now by a red rectangle. To move on to the next one, we can press plus and we can type C5. Once we've done C5, that's the last one that's been highlighted by a purple rectangle, and we're just going to close that off with a bracket. To add the bracket is just shift and 0. To open the bracket is shift and 9. To close the bracket is shift and 0. Now we've done that, all we need to do is press enter. If we want to hover back over that cell, we can go back over onto cell C7. We can see it's returned 12,500. We can look in the formula bar and we can see equals, open bracket, C3 plus C4 plus C5, close bracket. If we want to press F2 to reactivate that, we can do, and you can see each cell is indicated by a rectangle coloured as is indicated inside the cell. We press enter. If we've got any errors in there, we have 2 options. We can either just delete it out and start typing again. Alternatively, we can press F2. Once we've pressed F2, we can either go into the cell and we could make the change here. So we can go in and use the mouse, or we can use the cursor to move it to the position that we want, and we can start deleting. Alternatively, and it's the easiest and the clearest, is to go up to your bar in your formula bar and you can simply type. So if we wanted to swap the letter, if we'd got the wrong number, if we type 6 instead of 5, we can see that 6 is wrong. We can go into there, go into the formula bar, swap that back for 5, press enter, and that's corrected. So let's just continue. Let's continue to example number 2. So here, we're going to delete out all the values in everything blue, and we are going to replace them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here in C15. I'm going to type out the formula. So we're going to start with equals and then shift and 9. for the open brackets, and then it is C11 plus C12 plus, see, as you see the error that I made there, you just press delete, we could then continue, so it's C12, press plus, C13, close that with the bracket, and you can see before I press enter, both in the cell and in the formula, but both in the cell and the formula bar, you can see C11 plus C12 plus C13. Press enter. So let's continue that exercise. Now we've got the result for the blue. Let's do the black pen. So we're going to type equals. Now we're in column D. So let's open the bracket and let's type D11 plus D12 plus D13. Let's close that bracket. And we can see the formula D11 plus D12 plus D13. Press enter. You get 1625. Now let's do the red pen. Let's do the exact same. Let's press equals. Let's open the bracket. And now we're in column E. So it's E11 plus E12 plus E13. You can see that's all highlighted. We close that bracket off. We can see the formula both in the cell and the formula bar. Press enter. But to go back and see that, as always, press F2, bring the formula back up. Now let's move into the G11, and what we're going to do is going to add the values going across the row. So it's slightly different than what we've done before. This time where the row numbers has changed and the column number stayed the same, what you're going to do is you're going to have the same row number but a different column letter. So let's start the formula again with equals. Let's open the bracket. This time we're going to start with C11. As you can see, the blue has done exactly the same. Press plus to move on to the next cell. Now we're on D11. And you can see the red has appeared. Press plus, and now we're going to press E11. We're doing that, and we're going to close that with a bracket. We can see C11 plus D11 plus E11. And we can close that with a bracket. Press enter. Go back over that cell. We can see the formula again is still in the cell and in the formula bar. Let's move down to the next example. So we're now into G12, so we're going to do the same formula. Let's press the formula, open the brackets, and let's type C12 plus D12 plus E12, and close the bracket and press enter. That formula has been returned. Let's now move on to G. So now we're in G, let's press the equals, let's open that bracket, and now we're on C13 plus D13 plus E13. Let's close that bracket, and that's all done. That's brilliant. So now we've been able to return the total sales. We've got the colours for blue, black and red that's at the bottom. We've got our sales in column G. Now we just want to add up the total sales. So we've got the total value of all sold of all different colours of pen, no matter the type of pen. So to do that, we're going to be doing the same as we've done in the blue, black and red. So we're going to type equals. We are going to open the cell. We're going to click the open bracket, and then we're going to go into G11 plus G12 plus G13, close the bracket, press enter. There you are. So we've now swapped them out. So now we're going to move into example number 3, which is subtraction. So let's start with all of these by removing the values that was there. We're going to swap these out by typing these in. So now this is still an addition, but it's in the subtraction because the subtraction element is to do with the variance. So let's just add up the total value of the sales. We're starting in column D, so we're going to take equals. We're going to open the bracket. We're going to start with D19 plus D20 plus D21. Let's close that bracket and press enter. We've now added all the values up. Let's repeat the same with the sales target equals. Let's open that bracket. And now we're in column E, so E19 plus E20 plus E21. Close that bracket, press enter, formula's all done. Now let's move into the variance. So this is where we need to deduct the sales from the sales target. So we're going to type that formula out, we'll do exactly the same. Let's add up the variance value. Let's start the formula that equals, open the bracket, we're going to do G19 plus G20 plus G21. Let's close that bracket and press enter. It's brilliant. So we've done 3 different examples. We're on to our final example using multiplication. So we're going to remove the result from here. press delete, and what we're going to do is replace that cell. So what we need to do is this time is times the unit price by the number of units sold. So let's just jump straight in. Let's type that equals sign, and let's open the bracket. We want to do D27. We want to times that by E27. Let's close, so times that by, so sorry, made a mistake there. D27 times by E27. Let's close that bracket, press enter. Let's return the value. Let's continue. Now we're on row 28, so we want to do equals, open the bracket, D28 times E28. Close that bracket, press enter. And the final one, we're on row 29, so we do equals, open the bracket, D29 times E29, close that bracket, press enter. There you go. So we've been through the 4 different examples. We've used addition, we've used subtraction, we've used multiplication. The same process applies for division. I just think that this is a really good example to practice with. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you would like to check out my next one, that would be amazing. If you haven't seen some of my previous videos, I recommend you check out the 10 uses for Excel, which is really useful. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, it would be nice if you could take the time to support a new creator by subscribing or giving me a thumbs up or even some feedback. See you next time.